So everything that Donald Trump and company have done to subvert the will of the American voters has failed. And it will continue to fail. And Joe Biden will be sworn in on January 20th as the 46th President of the United States. Let's talk about that. Because respecting the will of the American people, like justice, matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So everything Donald Trump and the Republicans have tried to do to subvert the electoral will of the American people has failed. And it will continue to fail. And Joe Biden will be sworn in as our next president. Take the lawsuits, for example. Right? Donald Trump had these high-powered, well-moneyed, self-important law firms come in, and they lost 25 cases, 25 suits, and they started withdrawing from representation and running for the hills. So now Donald Trump is left with bottom-of-the-barrel Rudy, who's going to come in and take over these lawsuits. Do we really expect the lawyering is going to get better? Rudy Giuliani, who is little more than an extra in a Borat movie at this point? No, Rudy will fail in court spectacularly. So the lawsuits have failed. How about Lindsey Graham? Lindsey Graham was caught trying to strong-arm the Republican Secretary of State in Georgia. Here's the headline that came out of that little incident. Georgia Secretary of State says Lindsey Graham implied he should try to throw away ballots. So Lindsey Graham was narked out by a Republican Secretary of State in Lindsey's endeavor to undermine the will of the American voters. Lindsey Graham has failed. How about those two members of the Wayne County Board of Canvassers out in Detroit? They tried to corruptly throw the election to Donald Trump. And they failed. Here's the headline. Republican certifiers in Michigan back down after refusing to approve Biden win. Yeah, those two board members tried to subvert the will of the Detroit voters, and they failed. But remember their names, Monica Palmer and William Hartman. Remember their names. How about Louis DeJoy, nefarious Postmaster General? You know, he criminally slowed delivery of the mail. Yes, that's a federal crime in his attempt to interfere in the election, and he failed. And hopefully he's about to catch a contempt charge. Stay tuned. How about the recent move by Donald Trump firing the DHS head of what's called the CISA agency, the Cyber and Infrastructure Security Agency, a gentleman named Chris Krebs. Mr. Krebs had the nerve to issue a report saying that this may very well be the most secure election in American history, so Donald Trump fired him, prompting this headline. Trump fires Director of Homeland Security Agency who had rejected President's election conspiracy theories. Mr. Krebs had the nerve to speak the truth, which contradicted Donald Trump's ridiculous conspiracy theory, so he fired him. But you know what? You know who swooped in right behind Mr. Krebs? A senior cybersecurity advisor at DHS, a gentleman named Matthew Masterson. Right after his boss, Mr. Krebs, was fired, he tweeted this, quote, "The mission is unchanged. Hashtag protect 2020. Gotta love that. Again, Donald Trump fails. Well, Donald Trump has been hinting around that the military is going to come save him. The military will support his nefarious efforts to retain power. Oh, really? Did you happen to catch General Milley's recent comments? Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff? May I quote them? General Milley said, "This we will defend." And the "this" refers to the Constitution and to protect the liberty of the American people. You see, we are unique among armies. We are unique among militaries. We do not take an oath to a king or a queen, a tyrant or a dictator. We do not take an oath to an individual. No, we do not take an oath to a country, a tribe, or a religion. We take an oath to the Constitution. Close quote. General Milley's words are powerful and his message unmistakable. The military does not take an oath to a tyrant or a dictator or an individual. So Donald Trump has failed and will continue to fail, winning the support of the military over the Constitution, over the will of the American people. It's not going to happen. All of these ridiculous attacks, they're relentless attacks, they're multifaceted attacks, but they're ridiculous attacks by Donald Trump and all his little sycophantic buddies trying to undermine the will of the American people, right? The Pences and the Pompeos and the Giulianis and the rest of them, the Bill Barrs. You know what it all reminds me of? It all reminds me of when I was trying murder cases, and I tried a lot of murder cases, 22 of my 30 years as a federal prosecutor, I was trying murder cases in Washington, D.C. And unfortunately, when it comes to violent crime, when it comes to homicide in Washington, D.C., business for prosecutors was always good. And I wish that wasn't the case. But I tried a lot of murder cases. And I would often have defense attorneys take a similar approach to defending their clients. And it reminds me a lot of what I'm seeing from Trump and company. So these defense attorneys would actually look the jurors in the eye. And they would say something like, ladies and gentlemen, my client has an alibi. My client was nowhere near the crime scene at the time of the murder. But if you don't believe my client's alibi and you think my client was at the scene at the time of the murder, my client wasn't the killer. But if you don't believe the alibi and you believe that my client actually killed the victim, my client did it in self-defense. But if you don't believe the alibi and you believe my client was there and you believe my client killed the victim and he didn't act in self-defense, my client was insane at the time, right? And all of these ridiculous theories, right? One undercuts another. And the jurors end up believing none of them. All of Donald Trump and Pompeo and Barr and Pence and the rest of them, all of their ridiculousness, Lindsey Graham, Mitch McConnell, all of their nefarious attacks, their arm twisting, their lawsuits, their faithless electors, all of it undermines the strength of their position. They have nothing. They have nothing. And they will fail, and they will fail, and they will fail. And the next ridiculous weak argument will undercut the one before it and the one that comes after it. And they will fail. Mark my words, they will fail. And then when we have a law-abiding president and a law-enforcing attorney general, then we can work toward justice. Because justice matters. And it's coming. Folks, please stay safe. Hold on tight for the next 60 days. We're going to get through this. Better days are coming. I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.